Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Pava, as you may know. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please hop over to my Facebook group because you will have lots of opportunities to interact more. So if you're seeing this on Facebook, then you can definitely ask questions. We're going to be talking about monogamy, and is monogamy a myth? And you're going to be surprised because while monogamy is not a myth, many of the beliefs around monogamy are. And this is the whole month of, we're going to be talking about infidelity, monogamy, and all of that because betrayal is so prevalent in our society, in our relationships, not just in our romantic relationships, but also in our relationships with ourselves and with our relationships with family members, with friends. So we want to take the betrayal out and make it less taboo, because when we have a topic that we don't really like to talk about, that's where the problems can come in. So let's take a look at, what do we know about monogamy? Well, we know that over 50 to 60%, and we don't have exact numbers, of course, 50 to 60% of men within the first 5 years of marriage will have an extramarital affair that involves intercourse. So that's a huge chunk of men doing that. And then we have 20 to 30%, sometimes up to 40%, they think, of women that are doing the same thing in the first 5 years of marriage. So now if you take that and explode that out, usually what happens is the couple is already in a norm, and so whatever happens in that first 5 to 7 years is going to be more where they are in the relationship. So if they have worked through the affair, or they have worked on themselves to not even have an affair and prevent, they have a better the future is better for them to not even really deal with those types of physical affairs. There still can be emotional affairs, there can still be betrayal, and those types of situations. So what are we going to look at? We're going to look at, why do we think that affairs, monogamy and affairs just don't go hand in hand? Obviously they don't. But why do we think that monogamy is up here and that people are monogamous? Why do we feel that? And why do we think that affairs are something that will not happen to us a lot of times? When we meet that new person and we have that feeling of that person is so special and will never hurt us, and we're in that infatuation space, we feel that an affair will not happen. We might be fearful of it, and we might be jealous, and we might have different situations that are happening emotionally, but we don't actually feel like an affair is going to happen. So we put our blinders on, right? Because we want to believe that everything is going to be okay. And in society, we think that monogamy is the way it should be, even though there is actually no proof in either direction that we should be in a space of having many partners or having one partner. There's actually not a lot of research. Now, there's research in both camps. So if you actually start Googling, you're going to find research to support whatever your belief is that you'll really want to talk about. There's actually research supporting both, but because it's not conclusive and because we can't get to one space, we can't say that either is right or wrong, okay? But why is it that we want to say that monogamy is a thing? Why do we do that? Well, it's because we want to feel that we desire it. We desire monogamy, and it's because we want to have security. We want to, in addition to security, we want to have a sense of specialness. So if somebody is loyal to us, we feel very special, and we feel good about ourselves when we are worth it. When somebody betrays us, there's a lack of disrespect, and therefore we feel that we're not worthy, or for an instant we might at least acknowledge that that person doesn't feel that we are worthy. So when you have an affair, you will automatically start to feel like, why wasn't I good enough? Why did they do this to me? I did the right things, or maybe I didn't do the right things, but either way, why? Why did this happen to me? So understand that the idea of monogamy is to help us to feel better about ourselves. So we might feel monogamy is important because we want to feel special. We want to feel secure. And so we avoid talking about this topic because we don't want to rock the boat. If we start talking about the idea that monogamy is surrounded by some myths, then we start to feel that well, this isn't good. I don't want to rock the boat on this. I don't want to hex myself. I don't even want to think about the fact that somebody could betray me in any way, shape, or form. So therefore, I'm going to survive. I'm going to put my blinders up. I'm going to get protected, and I'm going to survive. And even if it happens, I'm going to blindly work through it, walk through it, trudge through it, whatever I have to do, because I'm not going to let an affair ruin my life. That's a way a lot of women especially will think. Also, there are people who are in the other camp where the minute somebody is going to betray me, that's it, I'm done, because I'm worth more than that. But what's missing in both of those camps is that no one is actually saying, okay, so there's an affair, so maybe what I need to do is I need to have some open, honest communication with the person who is having the affair or that did betray me. Or I need to also look at myself and have some honest conversations with myself. Maybe I need to get into therapy. Maybe my partner needs to get into therapy. Maybe we together need to get into therapy. What can we do as a couple where both of us need to honor that there needs to be more communication? So I need you to know that monogamy is not a myth, but the beliefs, many beliefs around it are. And so we need to look at what is really happening in our society. Number one, it's a lot of lip service that we say, oh yeah, everybody can be monogamous and affairs are horrible. We all say that, right? We all say that we get married and we make a vow, or we're living together with someone and they're our partner, and we have all these unspoken rules and policies that keep us together. But in reality, that's not the case, because there is this fascination with sex. There is a fascination with affairs. We see affairs in the movies, in media. We see it all over the place. And it actually is conducive to having affairs. So if it's so much a part of our art culture, our pop culture, and part of what we accept, then it's really something that we're saying, okay, we accept it. Now, another area that we need to think about is, speaking of pop culture, when we look at celebrities, many people will say, celebrities always have affairs, okay? So we acknowledge it when it's far away from us, when we think that we can't grasp it, when we think it can't touch us. But then when we hear that one of our neighbors, maybe one or both of them were having affairs on each other or whatever, it's like this gossip, this like, I can't believe it happened. They have so much to lose. They have XYZ, or I knew this was going to happen. People really talk. But the reality is that they were caught, and they might be the subject of conversation, but it's probably happening a lot more than you think, and it could even be happening in your home. So when we look at what's happening with celebrities and we so openly accept that, and we say it's because it's easy for us to sit back and point our fingers, right? We can say, well, it's because they're traveling. It's because they're so wealthy that they don't know what their priorities are. We have all of these armchair reasons why we can see why they are having an affair, but we will not be able to see it within ourselves. That is very important, and that again is a breakdown in communication with ourselves or with our partner. So we also have this glorification, okay? So the glorification of an affair is that, you meet someone and they're fascinating and they're attractive and they're not like your spouse. And many people will honor that, well, I had an affair, but it's easy to have an affair. I think the other person's great. I'm not doing their laundry, and you start to have that mentality where you know why it seems to be an infatuation. But in society, we glorify affairs all of the time. We okay them. We actually even say things like, well, no wonder he cheated on her. Look at how she's acting, which has nothing to do with having an affair, truly. So we need to think about that. We need to look at how we speak when we know someone is having an affair, or even if it's at a distance. Maybe it's even JFK and Marilyn Monroe. What are the messages that we send out? We glorify Marilyn Monroe. We have women all over the world, especially the United States, that they share her quotes and they really glorify her, even though there was lots of drugs and there was the betrayals and all of that. And there's a part of maybe women that connect to her and understand that she was a victim. So we might love that she was sexy and a victim at the same time. But then, if that was your neighbor and she was doing all of that in your neighborhood or your next door neighbor, would you think she was so great? Would you be pasting her quotes up? Probably not. So you need to think about, what are you glorifying? What is your message that you're bringing out there, and take ownership of it. The other area is this code of secrecy. It's super important. Parents often have this with children. So parents could have affairs, and I'm not a big proponent of a parent giving everything out to the child and making the child adultified. You know, it's very, very bad to adultify a child. However, you need to have these discussions about, what is monogamy? What is an affair? Are you a bad person? You know, are you labeled a bad person if you have an affair? And I know a lot of people say once a cheater, always a cheater, but that's really not true. The dynamic might be that that person is cheating, or that person may have an issue and that's why they're cheating, but they can totally get over it. And at the same time, if you find yourself with a string of men who are betraying, it might be something that you are doing or you're sending out that is attracting that kind of person, and you need to own that. And it's so important, because you are worth more than that dynamic. And so being open and lifting that veil of secrecy, especially with children, so that they know that, you know what, sometimes people make mistakes. It doesn't make them a bad person, but they need to work on it, and they need to be open and communicate. Will help the child to understand that as they get older, they don't have to live with lies and secrecy. So you see a lot of teenagers who are very secretive. Now, they need autonomy, super important, but also, what are they being taught? Are they being taught that owning a mistake or something that they've done wrong, are they being taught that that is something that is good and they should work through, or are they being taught that there should be nothing but shame and blame? So if you treat someone like anytime they do a mistake, it's all shame and blame, they're probably not going to be super open with you. That's important. And that's important even with your partner, okay? So being open and honest is incredibly important to prevent an affair, and also to get through an affair if it happens. Now, the other area is super important, and this is our last area, is the ceremony of a vow, okay? And when you have a vow, like in marriage, people seem to think of that as sealing this. It just seals the contract, right? You've made this public declaration, it's a vow, and suddenly everything's going to be fixed, because now you're a married couple. Everything you've done up until then is for that vow. That vow is actually just a public ceremony, okay? And so a vow is a contract, basically, and we know that in business, contracts are breached and broken every day. And so why would you think that a personal contract is not the same? In fact, it's even more intense, because it is just between two people. It's not like a large company with many eyes on it. And so if it's between two people, and the dynamic between the people is not as open and honest and comforting as it could be, that vow is just a declaration. It's just a ceremony. It's a beautiful ceremony. It's a beautiful declaration, but it's not the end. So when you have that vow, whether you are in a marriage or just a partnership, that it's the unspoken vow, or that you've spoke about being connected to each other, it's very important that if you have a vow, and if you are thinking about monogamy, that you are honoring that the vow is representing your intimacy level. And your intimacy level is about being open, and it is about having that communication, and it is about being honest. So that's where you are preventing the affairs, not in, hey, we have a vow, you promise to be monogamous, you promise to never cheat on me. That's not the way to get through any kind of a relationship issue. And also, that's not the mindset to have to keep or to prevent an affair from happening. Now, if you're the person that actually had the affair, and I know that there's many women out there that have had affairs, and as women, we tend to hold on to more of a shame. Men will have shame, but they'll sort of say, okay, like, I compartmentalized, and it didn't mean I didn't love her, and I'm just going to get through it. Men will compartmentalize traditionally a little bit differently. Women carry it, and they feel super bad about themselves. And so if you are someone who did have an affair, definitely lift the shame. Talk to someone, talk to a therapist, talk to me, whatever you want to do, but talk to someone you can really trust, because you need to lift the shame, you need to lift the blame. Don't make excuses for why it happened. Be open and honest with yourself. So if you're the person who is betraying, whether it's a lover, family members, friends, be open and honest with yourself to honor yourself. You make mistakes, and that's okay, and that other people should be okay with it too. So that was our discussion on the myth of monogamy. And again, monogamy is not a myth, but many of the belief systems around monogamy and affairs are definitely definitely off kilter. So I want you to try to understand and take this for whatever container you need it, whether it's with friendships, your job, yourself, your you can tweak this to anything, you know, being open and honest about your weight, being open and honest about what you need to do to get to the next level in your business. So I want you to really think about that. Thank you. Namaste. And for those of you who are not on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube looking at this, definitely go to my Facebook post group, and that link is below. And also you can sign up to the Peace, Love, and Bliss 14-day program to help you alleviate stress and get connected to us right away. So thank you so much, and namaste.